Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Powered by Riverside.
How you doing? Good. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Little musical interlude to
Oh,
straighten out and smooth out the mood. It must be that day.
it must
Hey,
be
hey, hey.
Tuesday.
It must be. It got to be Tuesday. We
Got
started
to be
off on
Tuesday.
playing some beats and all that. What's
Wow.
going on down at Sports Talk in the building? Yada Bear's in the house. She's over there, right? I'm left-handed. I'm over here. And we're gonna get into some stuff tonight, man. Week 10 in the NFL. Some strange things been happening all season long. Yeah, some strange things going on. But we're gonna talk about what we expect to see going down the stretch towards the end of the season. I talked about it a little bit last week with my Buccaneers. I'm seeing some things. Even though we 4-6, we'll get into that. Um, we're gonna get into some NBA. Some of us might not want to talk about it.
Mm.
Some of us might not want to talk about it. But hey, that's what we're here to do. We're here to give it up, talk about it, get live with it. I'm left-handed. At RM Desk on Twitter, which is this right now. All right, that's Yada Bear over there. You already know what it is. What's goody?
You know, chilling,
Chilling like a
relaxing.
villain.
You know, um, Victory Tuesday.
Oh, look at this.
It's
Look at this.
always great when we stomp the Cowboys. Like a mud hole. You know, a mud hole in these Cowboys. I love kicking them while they still down. Of course. I'm gonna kick them. I'm gonna stomp on them. I'm gonna grab a shovel. I'm gonna help bury them. Blind them. Just like how Jerry Jones. Just keep the windows wide open while the sun is beaming in the middle of the field, so we just blind everybody. But you know how it is. It's the Cowboys. Thursday is gonna be Thursday's
Yeah, we're
real
gonna
game.
definitely get into
Yeah,
that. We're gonna definitely
Thursday's
get
a
into
real game.
that.
But
Um,
what's going on with
yeah.
you, man?
I mean, if it's not one thing, it's another with the Cowboys, man. You know what I mean? Now you can't see the ball because the hole that been in the roof for 1,000 years finally, it's come into play before, where it rained real bad in Dallas or in Irving or whatever, and then that particular spot in the field is rainy and crazy looking, and then everything else is dry. But that's besides the point. CeeDee Lamb, I mean, what can you say? I mean, this is the Dallas Cowboys season that is going to hell in the handbasket. Dak
Yeah.
Prescott out, Ezekiel Elliott fumbling at the worst time. He's done. It's over with for
Oh,
him.
Zeke is done. Like I didn't even
Um,
know why they were playing in
but
the game.
hold up, wait a minute. Nah, nah, nah. Let's get to Micah Parsons. Let's get to this dude. First of all, I get where you're coming from. And in this country, nobody can deny your right to say things. But when you pop it off like that, when you haven't been, has he been on the field since when?
What he missed about what 4, 5 games?
My point exactly. How you gonna say the stuff that you said? I don't even like repeat that. You know what I mean? Because again, you wasn't cussing nobody out. You wasn't wishing nobody no foul. But then again, you might have been. Because you was kind of like, you know, giving Mike McCarthy the business. And the things that you said, I don't care who you are. I would trade you. How can you have? How can
Yeah.
you be? How could you be in that locker room amongst all those guys, those veterans, a lot of youngsters as well? Playing to the best of their ability, not having the best of years right now. You got CeeDee Lamb. That's how you feel about CeeDee Lamb. You know, you might feel that way about Dak. We know how you feel about Mike McCarthy, but last I checked, Mike McCarthy got Super Bowl rings. Last
Mm,
I checked, but they might not mean nothing in the grand scheme of things.
it don't.
But would you have said that to a Deion Sanders?
Um, Probably
No,
not.
no,
Probably
no.
not.
So again, that type of conversation is not. We're not supposed to be privy to that. That's supposed to be some behind the scenes stuff. But then somebody disagreed, they got into a fight, whatever, whatever. Everybody trying to be nosy.
Yeah,
But
that's
you
a
put it out
behind
on
closed
Front
door.
Street like, yo, where he ends up talking about Mike McCarthy, his next job, and this and
Yeah,
that. I'm like, word.
I mean, he's just repeating what we are all saying, and you know, he took off the football helmet and put on the podcaster hat,
True.
and you know, had just out there giving his opinion about our coaching
Yeah,
situation,
but
and it just happened to be his own coach, and I feel like he just happened to just was being honest with not only himself but with his Cowboy fans and letting them know like, yo, this guy is not it. And it's something that outside of the Cowboy organization people have been saying in their fan base, and he's just agreeing with them and just saying what everybody is thinking. Everybody knows that this is going to be Mike McCarthy last season as a Cowboy. I don't know if Mike McCarthy knows it. I'm pretty sure he does the way that he's coaching. I mean, watching the game, why would you start Cooper Rush when Jerry gave up so much to bring in Trey Lance? Where Trey Lance have a better skill set than Cooper Rush. All right,
you
you,
couldn't
you
tell in that game.
you start. I mean, you start Cooper in the first quarter. He's dropping the snap. You know, he's fumbling. He's throwing the ball to people's feet. I mean, once you see that this guy is shell shocked and was scared, I would just put the kid in because how how worse could it gotten? You know, the offense. You're in the red zone. CZ can't see the ball. Jerry Jones gonna put curtains on the window. You know, there's the sun is just beaming on the middle of the field. So, you know, you trying to use that as a disadvantage for the Eagles. Well, it was a disadvantage for both teams, truthfully. And but we were just able to adjust and make um, the better calls, and Jalen was able to throw the ball in a position where it wasn't directly in the sun. You know, but I would have put the kid. I would have put Trey Lance in. I mean, I feel like Trey Lance should start the rest of the season. You're three, what 3-6?
I mean, a part of me says that. I mean, a part of me says that, but another part of me says, you know what? I feel like um, that's what you got Trey Lance for. If that situation comes to that where you got to put Trey Lance in the game, then you got to put Trey Lance in the game.
Well, the season's
Cooper
done, so you
Rush,
might as well.
Cooper Rush is the backup, point blank.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
Cooper Rush is trash.
And
So
Cooper Rush is trash. We know that.
Cooper Rush
We
is
know Cooper
trash.
Rush is trash.
Trey Lance is a former first round pick.
Really?
I
Okay,
mean,
let's go. Let's come on,
listen,
Browski.
he a former first round pick.
Uh huh.
The kid is young. You
Uh huh.
gave up what two third
Word.
round picks to bring him
Word.
in.
Uh
The
huh.
season is over. Why not put him in to see what
Ah,
you to
from
see
that
what you have?
perspective, from that perspective, yeah.
Why not?
I'm not even gonna. argue that point. But I will say this. Um, somebody got to get CD Lamb the ball.
Yeah, and I feel
And
like Trey got a better arm than Cooper. I feel like he can listen. Even though that deep ball was a little too
yeah,
weak,
let's go.
and
Come on, Browski.
and it was
Uh
going
huh.
right into the
That's
hands
cool. I can dig
of
it. Uh huh.
CJ,
Uh huh.
Garner, but
Word.
it was a nicely thrown ball. It was a better pass than any of the passes Cooper Rush was out there throwing.
Mm, mm, mm.
You
I'm
know.
not even. I'm not even gonna get into that back and forth about Cooper Rush.
Look, at the end of the day, the Cowboys are trash. You know.
Right.
And we have seen the decline of the Cowboys early in the season, even before Dak
Early,
got hurt.
a few seasons ago.
I mean, even just speaking on this season,
Uh huh.
we have seen the decline of the Cowboys
Right.
even before Dak got hurt. Okay, because Dak only has 3 wins.
Right.
So I want all you Cowboy fans to not sit here and be like, "Well, Dak is hurt." Well, Dak wasn't hurt in the first part of the first half of the season. Dak has 3 wins. What's the what's the excuse? You know, there's really no excuse for your offense not able to put points on the board. I
Right.
mean, if you look at the season, the MVP of the team is Brandon Aubrey, your kicker.
Huh.
Okay, he scored more points than anybody on the Cowboys team right now. He's the MVP of the Cowboys. So at the end of the day, Jerry Jones once again destroying the team. You put all your money in two guys that's haven't produced this season. One guy out for the rest of the season. CD, CD,
Can't see the
CD in
ball.
limbo. CD in limbo right now. He can't see the ball. Nobody can get him the ball. He's the only receiver.
Can't see Lamb. I'm
Can't
sorry.
can't see Lamb. Only receiver Lamb. He's just a lamb chop.
He's
You know
doing. Hey, he's doing a disgrace right in the face of the great number 88. I'm
exactly.
sorry. Hey.
No, and,
So
and, and that's a fact. That number, like, there's certain numbers that people shouldn't be able to just wear off the rip.
off the
And
rip.
80 and
That's right.
88 is
That's
definitely
right.
one of those numbers. And this is coming from a full blood Eagles fan. I look at 88 like, mm-mm, mm-mm. I feel like 88 should actually be retired, and nobody should be wearing 88. I mean, nobody wear 92 in Philadelphia.
Right.
Nobody wear 92.
Right.
Nobody wear 5,
Right.
and nobody definitely won't wear 62.
Mm.
So I feel like 88.
It's one of those numbers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause I mean, and everybody that had that number for the Cowboys is great in their own right. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I mean,
Like Irvin,
yeah,
Drew Pearson. I mean, come on now.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
I would even. I listen. I would even give credit to what you call him. The last receiver that had 88. Double Bull. Can't think of his name now.
uh oh.
Damn, what is his name? The other Cowboy receiver,
Mm.
the one that dropped the pass in Green Bay.
The one that dropped the pass.
Yeah, the one the one that had the whole controversy is a catch or not a catch.
Oh, 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 oh,
Exactly.
That's how great he
Think of his
was.
name.
I couldn't remember his name. Anybody can remember that dude's name. What's in the
Yo,
catch?
it's so crazy that it just slipped my mind.
Oh my goodness!
I can't
Wow.
think of his name.
And that shows the decline of the
The
Dallas
Cowboys.
Cowboys, where they're not even in people's. You can't even remember that. And again, we talked about that for years,
Yeah,
and now you can't remember the person who wore that. I'm thinking I went straight Michael Irvin and Drew Pearson, so that didn't
yeah,
even click to me. But
yeah.
I'm seeing who you're talking about right now. I'm seeing them, but
Hmm.
I just can't um, picture it. But
Yeah, but
again, let's talk about your Eagles.
yeah. Well,
Doing what they do.
yeah. Well, it was a good game. It started out a little slow. Um, Jalen Hurts picked up, right back on the turnover train. Um, through that interception in the end zone, which didn't really hurt us, but it's just looking at him like, bro, like he's the type of quarterback to me that he thinks he can make every throw. He can make every throw. And sometimes it's like, bro, just put a little bit of air on that ball. You throwing it in the end zone, in the middle of the field, in the middle of the end zone, with a defender right there. Like, put a little air on the ball. And I feel like, since this was Dallas Goddard's first game back, I feel it was like they really tried to get him involved in the red zone and like kind of forcing the, you know, force feeding him the ball where you had um, the other tight end wide open for the touchdown, but you want to force feed Dallas Goddard the ball. And then the fumble.
Des
Yeah,
Bryant.
yeah. There you go. That's Bryant. There you go. There we go. Yeah. And then
Woo! Go
that's
ahead.
crazy that we couldn't remember that
Yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But and then Jalen had to fumble when he got sacked by Michael Parsons. He tried to tuck the ball in, but Michael was already there. And they recover it down and in their own territory, and they just still couldn't punch it in. Um, but all in all, it was a good game. We need to really start talking about how my man Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie from Toledo, is becoming a shutdown corner,
Talk
and
about it.
he's been shutting down everybody he faced, and he's been facing a lot of really good receivers. You know, it was nothing. CD couldn't get nothing on this kid. You know, Malik Neighbors couldn't get nothing on him. Um, who else did we play? I mean, even when we played Tampa, he was a problem out there. As a rookie, early on, going against Mike Evans and freaking Godwin. To me, a rookie with these type of vets, he should be getting scorched, and he's been really holding his own. Um, so I really love the fact that we have our corners for the future. Cooper DeJean also really locking down that nickel corner spot. Um, our secondary is looking really good, and I mean I feel like truthfully we are prepared to move on from Slay because once again Slay started the game, Slay didn't finish the game. You
Yeah.
know he's he's hurt, and he's keep forcing it and keep going out there, and he's playing half the game. He's playing the first half, not seeing him again in the second half. So I feel like it's something going on with that knee. Maybe it's time for Slater, to sit it down. You know, um, Isaiah Rogers, he's coming along. Here and there, but my defense looking good. Jalen Carter, being a force on that defensive line. Um, Even Josh Huff has finally kind of, arrived, giving, that pressure on the defensive end line, getting that pass rush going. Jordan Davis, um, Josh Sweat. So I feel like we are rolling, and definitely I gotta give a big shout out to Coach Vangio because he's getting so much out of Zach Barn that I know the Saints are sick to their stomach right now because this guy is all over the place. He had about like 6 solo tackles. He had two forced fumbles, one fumble recovery, interception. Like this guy is always around the ball. So I definitely got to give Fangio a big shout out for that. Also, N'Kobe Dean, being the Mike guy, middle linebacker, young guy. Um, they put a lot of trust in him to definitely let Devin White go without even stepping on the field. They seen something in him, and he's actually really lived up to it, and he's been playing really good. So my defense really has been coming together, and you know, as a whole, we're looking like the Eagles that we're used to, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going to Thursday. Thursday is a big game against the Commanders. Commanders are rolling. Jalen Daniels, is a force to be reckoned with. I can't deny it. The kid is good. Him and Cliff Kingsbury, they have. like this connection, and they're really tough, offensively. So it's gonna be a tough matchup. It's gonna be a really good. This should be a really good Thursday night game. I feel like the last two Thursday night games has been pretty good. I feel like this should be a good one too.
Ladies and gentlemen, that soliloquy was brought to you by Queen Ree. Make sure you get all your resin products from Queen Key in the building. You already know what it is. Now, we're going to get to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Uh oh.
You right, Bowski. You right.
Uh
You
oh.
right, Yada Bear. Uh-oh is right.
Uh oh.
2 weeks in a row, we lost on the last play of the game. I'm not going to talk about the game before. I'm going to talk about this game against the 49ers, where you had the 49ers kicker missing 2 field goals. You had the 49ers frustrated fighting on the sideline.
Debo crazy for that.
I mean, but I'm not even gonna get into his before the game attire when they show him. That was
That was wild too.
I'm not even gonna say nothing, Kimmy. I'm not, I mean, to each his own. You know what I mean?
That was
But
wild.
we let that guy and his team beat us. Um, but I'm not worried. I'm not gonna throw a hissy fit. I'm not gonna jump out the window. I'm not. Listen. Go back to the beginning when we did the NFL preview. When I said about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule, I said if we could get through Baltimore, Kansas City, San Francisco, if we hit our bye, if we 5-5, we 4-6, I'll eat that. I'm not mad at that. I won't be mad at that at all. The rest of the schedule after the bye, have you seen that, Browski?
No,
We can
I
go out there
seen.
and beat them teams.
I mean, y'all should even without Mike Evans and Chris
Even without Mike Evans, you know what I mean?
Carson.
Um, I feel like those games are to be won. You got Carolina, you got the Giants, you got Dallas. Because I was counting Dallas as a tough game.
But not anymore.
Not no more. Are we going to go on a 7 game run? No, because I don't trust my team to do that. But what I do trust them to do is make a hell of a run at these 7 games because they're there to be had. Now we're 2 games behind Atlanta. What we gonna do about it? Can't do nothing about it because we played them twice already and lost twice. So we're gonna have to make hay. Um, in these games we got Carolina, the Giants. Like what?
Yeah, very
We can't. The
winnable
Raiders. Like what's you know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? So again, I'm not gonna jump out the window. Sonny Cruz, hold your corner, hold it down, dog. All right. Find Auntie on Twitter. Hold it down. Buccaneers fans in the building. Right? Not to worry. Not to panic. The only way we could lose this thing is if we just blow the spot up, like we done the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about some refereeing things I saw in week 10. Um, that Washington Pittsburgh game. Russell Wilson looked outstanding. Give it up to him. He did his thing. But
Hmm.
that call on that pass, that was a first down. Because he caught the ball past the line. And momentum brought him back. Nobody touched him. He
Hmm.
tried to get up. Then they down by contact. They ruled it wasn't the first down.
Well,
Steelers won. I want to get your thoughts on the Steelers season so far, that particular call, and what the Washington Commanders have shown you so far this season.
like I said earlier, I feel the Commanders have really is the surprise of the season. Nobody didn't think that coming into this situation, rookie quarterback, Dan Quinn as the head coach. We've seen Dan Quinn as a head coach before. We know what to expect from him, and rookie quarterback, new offensive coordinator. This is a whole new feel in Washington, and I feel like them selling the team is like a whole new vibe down there. You know, the vibe is a lot different down in Washington, and they are a good football team. You know, they may need a little help on the defensive end, especially in the secondary. But offensively, you know, they're a force to be reckoned with. And you know, with that play with Zach Ertz, I mean, it's an unfortunate call, but again, you don't want to leave the game in the ref's hands. You know, and I look at it as it probably was a makeup call because that game, the officiate was a little, you know, it was a little
Suspect.
shaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little suspect all game. So when I saw that call at the end, because I watched the whole game, I said, it could have went either way. But I was like, this is a makeup call. It's a makeup call, and I mean, they had the chance to get the ball back, undisciplined at the line.
Right. 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 You're right.
Okay,
You're right.
so once again, you don't want the game in the ref's hands, and you gotta be disciplined at the line. You gotta know the situation. They was never going to snap that ball.
Right.
It wasn't going to snap that. It wasn't going to go for it. Why would they go for it? You know, they have the lead already.
Yeah.
We're gonna punt it and try to pin you all you back there and make you
And
you
make you
know
drive.
make you drop with no timeouts.
Right.
You know,
But you did that
so
job for them.
yeah, it's a couple.
Right.
It's about
You did the job
30,
for them.
40 seconds
Absolutely.
left. So it's like I'm not gonna snap the ball. I'm just gonna I'm gonna throw you off. And he did exactly what this you know undisciplined. Um, the Steelers looked really good with Russ. It was a lot of controversy about people not, saying, "Oh, don't pull the kid,"
They were saying
because
Russ was cooked. They said Russell Wilson was done.
people said Russ was cooked. People said, "Don't pull the kid. The kid is having the game, having the year." And to me, I agree with the change because one, you're not doing anything. You gotta score. You gotta score points. They was scoring 20, 20 points, maybe. They were struggling to score 20 points with Justin Fields. Your receivers was unhappy because they wasn't getting the ball because this kid can't really throw the ball like that. He don't have a deep ball. And then with the addition of Mike Williams, that the Jets threw away, you know, with Russ, who has a deep ball, um, it's a match made in heaven. It takes some of the pressure off of George Pickens. Pickens, he made a hell of a catch in the end zone when he, you know, um, changed direction and he came back and he caught that pass in the end zone. So you see the connection between him and Pickens. Pickens seems seems happy. Um, Tight end, getting a lot of touches too. Him, Najee Harris, Warren, like everybody is getting a lot more touches, a lot more production with Russell as quarterback. He's making smart decisions. He's not forcing, he's not forcing the issue, and you can see that Tomlin trusts him more than he trusts Justin Fields. When Justin was in there, it was like he had him like on a pitch count. It seemed like.
Mm.
But with Russ, it seemed like Russ is more free. He's not holding the reins on him. Arthur Smith, the coordinator, can do a lot more because of Russell's skill set, and and you can see that Russ is like a leader on the field. He's I feel like he's back in that leadership role like when he was in Seattle. And I feel like him there is very comfortable. Coming, after having that terrible experience in Denver, it was like I said, people said, "Oh, Russ is cooked, Russ is this, Russ is that," but you know, Russ is a Super Bowl champion. He went to back-to-back Super Bowls for a reason, and he's showing people
Could
that
have could have
hey,
could have
I
had
got it.
two, but we ain't gonna get into that.
I mean, he could have had to, but that's another story. But
Right.
Russ still showing that he still got it. Um, their upcoming schedule is getting tougher now. So now we're really going to see what Pittsburgh and Russell is about because now they got to play the Baltimores and they got to, even though Cleveland's in shambles, that they're still a tough matchup when they playing each other. And then you got the Bengals. The Bengals, not playing as good, but again, talking about divisional games, these are rivalries, and these guys know how to play each other and they play each other tough. So we're definitely going to see what the Steelers are really made of during the second half of the season. Because to me, to make the playoffs in the AFC, you got to win the division. It's the AFC is a lot of team. Matter of fact, on both sides, NFC and AFC, there's a lot of teams that's in the mix. A lot of teams 7-2, 6-3, 5-4. It's a lot of those squads out there, and every game counts on both sides. So how you feel about the Steelers?
Um, I think that the Steelers are right where they need to be. Um, like you said, we're gonna see. They haven't played any division games yet this season,
All their division games in the back half.
so we're gonna see what it really is with Pittsburgh. I kind of feel the same way about that. That kind of side. The same thing about with the Houston Texans. Um, 6-4. Like, a lot of people expected them to have, a better record by right now. They haven't really looked good. That loss against Detroit, Sunday was a killer.
Five
Um,
picks, and you don't come,
yeah, I
you can't
mean,
walk away with
that
victory.
says a lot. And you look at these teams in the AFC. Miami is 5 games behind Buffalo in the AFC East. So you figure the AFC East is, Buffalo's to lose. Then the other 6 spots in the AFC could be taken by, you look at, maybe Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Houston, Kansas City, the Chargers. Now, who's going to take the last spot?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So then when you look at the NFC, I look at it, I kind of look at Washington the same way we're looking at Pittsburgh, right?
mhm,
Because, you know, um, when you're looking at Washington, how they're losing these games, it's crazy,
yeah.
right? And again, Jaden Daniels and McLaurin and Austin Eckler and they can't keep bringing them guys out of trouble. And the defense, again, like you said, has to be more disciplined.
Yeah,
So when you talk about Washington, you can't look at them and say, oh, they're playing even as well as they were in the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. The Detroit Lions look Super Bowl material, but we all know once the lights come on in January, we'll see what it is. The team that I'm gonna say, besides my Buccaneers right now, we're 4-6. We got nothing to talk about. We got nothing to talk about right now. So again, the team I do want to talk about in the NFC, um, the Arizona Cardinals. I said, the Arizona Cardinals are going to make some noise in the beginning of the season. They're 6-4 right now. They actually lead the NFC West.
mhm.
Um, Kyler Murray, that he took a hellified hit.
Oh, he took that
Whoa! And
that man got
talk about knock your head off, literally.
facts.
You know what I'm saying? But again, that to show his toughness, and I think that again, he got up off the deck. That would have been a Neil Lomax or who else is a Cardinals quarterback? Kurt Warner,
Oh my
somebody
God.
like that. They would have been, they wouldn't have got up. So
Nah,
I
they
give
would have been
Kyler
down
Murray his
there.
props.
Yeah, that would have
You
been.
know what I mean? When you talk about the NFL, Browski, like you said, it's about to get down to the rough, rugged, and raw. Thanksgiving is coming up next week. The Chicago Bears, man, I keep trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Caleb Williams looks like the truth one week, and the last couple of weeks he looked like garbage. Like, what are we doing, man? And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about evaluation. I want you to get back into that a little bit because I want to add on. What do you think? In your opinion, and what you see as far as evaluation of quarterbacks in the NFL?
Um, I feel like I feel like any I feel like any quarterback that goes to Chicago is set up for failure because Chicago is a terrible organization. They just fired their offensive coordinator.
Right.
Okay, so that tells you a lot. And also seeing the success of Justin Fields early in the season with Pittsburgh also is an indictment of the Chicago Bears coaching staff and organization.
Organization.
So it doesn't matter what quarterback you bring in there, as long as you have those same guys running the show, you're gonna get
That's
the
what you're
same
gonna get.
result. And look what's happened this year. They looked at Caleb Williams as being way better than Justin Fields, and and now they are in the same situation, same predicament. I mean, I feel like they didn't got to had the same record, you know. But them letting go the offensive coordinator, I feel like the coach is next. They're probably gonna wait to the end of the season to let the coach go because you got another like you're ruining these talented quarterbacks. And like you said, we seen flashes of greatness with Caleb Williams, and we also see flashes of this kid look like he's lost, like he doesn't know what he's doing. And we also seen DJ Moore kind of like walk off the field during the play. He just walked off the field because he knew that this play was going to result in nothing. Like he just walked. He just went to the sideline. I'm like, I never seen anybody do that in a game. Just walk off the sideline as the ball was going in your direction. Like he was looking to pass you the ball, but when he looked up again, you see Mike. You see DJ go like this. He walked to the sideline getting some water. I'm like, yo, what is happening? So it's dysfunctional in Chicago. Chicago has been a dysfunctional place for several years.
You
They.
know what? I'm gonna say something. Not to cut your wisdom.
Mhm.
You know what? I think, in my opinion, about the Chicago Bears, I don't care about none of that Devin Hester and Jay Cutler, and I don't care about none of that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you where the Chicago Bears messed up at. The Chicago Bears. You know where the Chicago Bears messed up at? The Chicago Bears messed up when they didn't let Walter Payton score a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
So you think this
It
is
goes all, yep,
this
yep.
is the
I don't
football
care nothing
god?
about Jay Cutler. I don't care nothing about Devin Hester running the kickoff return back. And Prince was singing at halftime in the rain, and I don't care about none of that.
None of that.
I don't care about none of that. I just think that they did Walter Payton dirty, and to even as a Buccaneers fan, to even remember that, even going back then, like Refrigerator Perry, come on, son. But that's neither here nor there. The Chicago Bears have proven themselves time and time again to be, not the best evaluators of talent, and I'm going to say that. Rest in peace to my man Easy Wayne, big Bears fan. When the Bears were dominating, it was the defense. The offense, did what they had to do. But now you look at the Chicago Bears. They put all their eggs into the Caleb Williams basket, and we saw that he had a lot of flaws. You know what I mean? Even when he was
Yeah.
at USC still. So what would have been the problem of keeping Justin Fields, having Caleb Williams around to be that insurance plan? Because now you got Justin Fields. He's languishing. He's now he don't have nothing to do. He's sitting behind Russell Wilson.
Mhm.
He would have been playing in Chicago.
Oh, definitely.
So I mean, so what? You would have had two, top top drafted quarterbacks. So what? You know what I mean? So I think that the Chicago Bears, they if they let their offensive coordinator go, he wasn't the one out there holding the ball too long.
No.
He wasn't the one out there walking off the field. So when you talk about the Chicago Bears, they learned their lesson and they back to the drawing board, back to square one. You know, um, that's all we're gonna do on the football tip. You ready to talk about some basketball?
Let's go. Might as well.
All right,
You
y'all.
know,
Yada Bear is gonna. She's in a kind mood. Look at her. Look at her. She's in a kind mood. She wants to talk about Joel Embiid and her Philadelphia 76ers. Let's give it up for Yada Bear, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up for Yada Bear.
I guess since you're forcing me to talk about the Sixers, well, today is the first game of what we all have grown to love or hate, like myself.
Or
This
tolerate.
tolerate this NBA in season tournament.
Mm.
Um, Today the Sixers are playing against the Knicks.
Right.
Joel Embiid first game back. He was hurt. He was injured or revamping or tuning up for the season. Then he had a situation with the reporter.
His feelings were hurt.
I mean, he crossed the
I mean,
line.
he was within
He
his
crossed
rights.
the line. He crossed
Right.
the line,
Right.
and he had to let him know, you know, certain things won't be tolerated. So that's over and done with. Now he's back. Um, First game back from the knee. 7 points in the first half. Couple rebounds. He just getting himself back into game shape. He's learning how to play with the team. The team is learning how to play with him. Him and Paul George playing together. Paul George 17 points in the first half. So it's really good to see Paul George getting it. He's been struggling with his shot since he been back. He was out for 4 games with a hyperextended knee. But it's good seeing him back out there, creating his own shots, hitting those shots. Um, Now we're just waiting for Maxi to come back from his hamstring injury so we can see the team as a whole. You know, but I can't really take much from this game right now with Joel because, like I said, it's his first game back. It's going to take him a couple games to get his legs under, get his bearings back on the court. Um, I just don't like this in season tournament. It's just killing me. Um, we were talking behind the scenes, and I was saying like
Hmm.
it was just so crazy how fast we went on a West Coast trip because of this in season tournament. Like we never played the Lakers before January. We always play the Lakers after Christmas, like the first, second week of January. And we just went off of our West Coast trip last week. Like we played the Clippers, the Lakers, and we played who else
Sacramento.
with the Lakers? I forgot who else. Another West Coast team. Too early. And I thought that maybe they would realize that last season how the schedule was so it was just off. And no, they just kept it going. Like I don't want to see the Sixers play the Charlotte Hornets 4 times in a 2 week period. Like this,
Right.
it's crazy. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see what the Sixers bring for the rest of the first. I'll say I'll give it about 3 weeks. So I can really see where my team sits. You know, Joel back out. Hopefully we get Maxi back out soon. But right now, I really don't have much to say about them. One thing I will say, we need to make a move because there's no way in hell that Kyle Lowry should be playing 25 plus minutes. Okay, it's no way this guy should be playing that many minutes. It's no way that Eric Gordon should be playing that many minutes. So we definitely need to make a move. We need a shooting guard, and I need for Kelly Oubre to be coming off the bench. I don't need him to be starting in the game. I need him to come off the bench because he's better. coming off the bench than as starting. But go ahead and tell me about your Knicks.
Well, I am going to talk about the Knicks. And everybody that's jumping out the window, shout out to my man Knicks Fan TV and all of that. Shout out to all the Knicks out there that's doing their thing. Um, I just think that this part of the season when you have talent like the Knicks have, we acquired Carl Anthony Towns, we got Mikal Bridges. You know what I mean to go along with what we have. It takes a while to get it together, and I'm not mad at where the Knicks are right now. Um, they need to be playing a little bit better, but they will. They'll get it together. I trust that they will. I'm kind of like looking at Carl Anthony Towns and like okay, he hasn't really been playing. He's had his little moments where we get back to Pillsbury Doughboy scenario, but for the most part he's been trying to acclimate himself now to playing every night in the East. You know what I'm saying? I'm liking what the Knicks are doing. I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? But if we're going to talk about this NBA Cup, I feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like it's a shiny toy to distract everybody's attention from what's going on with the college football playoff rankings, college basketball, and whatever else happens to be going on. We didn't need these bright colored courts. We didn't need all of that. We didn't need a season within the season because you're already trying to shorten the season to 65 games. So
Which is
you mean to
wild
tell
to
me you got
me.
to have, you know what I'm saying? And now shut me down because I'm saying like we don't need all of that.
Nah.
So again, the MVP race, and let's see, where we at, Browski? Right before Thanksgiving, I say right before New Year's, we're gonna have to eliminate some big names from the MVP race because they won't have enough games to qualify.
Yeah.
And I'm not really interested in that. Well, they need no. You had 82 games. That wasn't enough. Or that was too much.
Yeah,
They
I
got
know.
twenty
I'm
percent to say you could be MVP of the league playing 80% of the games. You can't even do that. So what where are we at with this? The best player in the league. The numbers are down. Shh. Right. So Adam Silver has to think fast, and he has to think on his feet to kind of like get this thing back to where the viewership, the people are talking about it and not complaining as much as it's a give me the ball and shoot a 3-pointer game. You know,
mm-hmm.
um, you know, Cleveland Cavaliers are 12-0. Nobody's talking about it because nobody cares, right? That to me, that's an example of not having that superstar guy.
Exactly. Kind of reminds you of the Detroit Pistons when they went in a championship run. You know.
If they had any kind of superstar, I mean, no disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, but what happened to him? He's not considered a superstar guy. He's playing on a 12-0 team.
Exactly. Darius
Darius
Garland,
Garland is playing on a 12-0 team.
Jared Allen.
Yeah. All these dudes are playing on a 12-0. Hold it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Cleveland Cavaliers. Not Golden State Warriors.
Wow.
Not Miami Heat. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
LA Lakers.
Right, absolutely. So I feel like, the NBA has some work to do, or it's going to be going back to the dark ages. And I mean that literally, because again, a lot of people, you hear a lot of talking about them being fed up with the way the game is presented. You know, and again, in trying to acquiesce to the crowd, to acquiesce to the fan, you took away from the game
Yeah.
because that's why the fan attends the game, right?
Yeah.
So this is where we are, Browski, and I'm not the Stanley get off my lawn, dude. I'm just calling it like I see it. It's what it turned into.
Yeah.
Being all this, we got to do this for the fan, and we got to make sure that this is that and the third, and we got to make the game more enjoyable. You turned it into no, it's unwatchable,
Mhm.
right? So again, um, no, they don't want to play Charlotte 3 times in 10 days. They don't want to do that.
Nah, it's
Who wants
boring.
to do that? You know what I'm saying? So again, I feel like Adam Silver, he tries to have these gimmicky things like the NBA Cup, right? These gimmicky things. Let the WNBA do what they do, and the NBA do what they do.
Yeah.
You know, But the NBA trying to, gain that, I guess that younger demographic, which I'm not mad at. But how you going about it is crazy because we were young once upon a time, and guess what? We got hooked up and caught up on the Dr. J's, the Kareems, the David Thompsons, the Gus Williams, the Birds, the Dominique Wilkins. You know what I'm saying, Bowski? So we watched that. Like even Milwaukee had dudes, but like now everybody's got dudes, but their dudes are just that dudes. Remember, everybody was clamoring about Donovan Mitchell coming to the Knicks.
Yeah.
What happened to that? And that's just a point, Kimmy. That's just. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Sometimes and I don't even really feel well, But I'm just saying, like what I'm seeing right now is the NBA is slowly.
It's becoming a gimmick league.
Ah,
Yeah, it's becoming a gimmick league. Um, I mean, speaking of NBA, let's talk about Klay Thompson. Making his first trip back to Golden State since being on the Mavericks.
mm-hmm.
Um, one thing I do like that I saw during the pregame show is the fact that the Golden State staff and everybody they welcomed him back. They was all waiting for him back in the back when he was walking through. They all had like the captain hat on, gave him a great welcome him, back to Golden State. And I thought that was dope of them to do that. You know, um, I like Klay Thompson on the Mavericks though. I gotta admit to that. Um, Helps the Mavericks out a lot. Um, but to go back to your point about the Cleveland Cavaliers, it is crazy that nobody's talking about
Nobody.
Cleveland.
Not even. We talked.
Yeah, it's so crazy, and like you said, it's because it's Cleveland. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a big market
Yep.
team. It's not
Let's go, Kimmy. Yep.
it's not a team in New York or in Boston or Philly or Miami or
Chicago.
even
Yeah. Right.
Chicago or
Mm-hmm.
LA, Houston.
Denver. Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those big market teams, and
Right.
but when you think of Cleveland, you're like, well, yeah, well, Cleveland has history. LeBron, Mark Price, guys like that. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it's still small
Cleveland.
market. You know, it's not a sexy team. It's not. It's not a sexy team. You gotta admit, it's not like nobody's running to buy a Donovan Mitchell Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. Nobody's running to buy a Darius Garland Cavaliers jersey. It just it's weird, but I definitely gotta say salute to Cleveland because they are definitely doing a thing there. Even though it's still early, we'll see how long the momentum gonna go because nobody never went 82-0. So they gotta
Right.
lose maybe
Right.
win.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
ever went 82
But
and 0.
listen, and the reason why I brought that up, and listen, don't let us forget about to talk about Keyshawn Davis,
Hmm.
right? Um, and we're gonna talk about the college football playoff rankings too.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, when you talk about that type of scenario, the Cleveland Cavaliers doing what they do, and they're just playing ball, and
Yeah.
nobody's ever went 82-0. But those Miami Heat teams and those Cavalier teams were regularly winning 13, 14, 15 games in a row. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, they just getting off to that good start. But now here's the thing: are they gonna finish with 65 wins, or are they gonna finish with 55 wins?
That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question right there. You know what I mean? And again, the end of this, we have a long way to go. I'm not declaring any champions or anything. No, it's way too early. We don't
Yeah.
do that. You know
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying? So, but I can say that the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing a exciting brand of basketball. They're 12-0. The record shows it. Because what my man say, Bowski, you are what your record says you are.
That's right. That's true.
So if the Cleveland Cavaliers are 12-0 and nobody's paying attention to it, that's your loss. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I feel like they're gonna do what they do. Let's see what happens when they lose a couple games and things of that nature or whatever. When they feel like they're in Charlotte and they get caught out there. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean what are we doing? What are we doing with the Los Angeles Clippers? What are we doing with them? They got that nice jazzy new arena. No, look like it's a home court advantage, and they still they doing what they do.
Well, I mean, the Clippers going to be the Clippers, all right? Especially when you relying on a guy like James Harden,
Right. That's
he's the
that's
leader of
right.
the team now. So that's why the Clippers look like these James Harden Clippers. Kawhi's out. Kawhi probably won't be even playing this season. Who knows? Um, you got Norman Powell, Terrence Mann. I don't know. It's I feel like they're missing a piece, and it's not Kawhi. They gotta bring somebody else in that new fancy arena they got there. They
Right.
paid too much money for that arena to be looking the way that they do. You know,
Hmm. That's right.
especially in the Washington Conference. I mean, there's too many good teams out there, and they wanna spank you in that new arena. So I don't know. I just don't trust James Harden.
Mm.
I haven't trusted James Harden since his Houston days. He got so much help in Houston, still couldn't get it done. Forced his way out of Houston, got to the Nets, forced his way out of Brooklyn, came to Philly. He didn't like the situation here, forced his way out of Philly. Now he's where he want to be at, and I don't know, man. I can't trust this guy. I'm I'm done with Harden, and I don't understand why these guys keep paying this man. Because he looks good in the regular season, and then playoffs is trash.
I feel like that's what we come to expect. Chet Holmgren suffered a bad injury for Oklahoma
Yeah,
City. It kind of takes the steam out of their sails. They were doing their thing
they had
in the
it like
Western
hip
Conference,
surgery or
nine
something
and
like
two.
that.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
a
that
that's
that's
a bad thing.
crazy. But
But
what did
the
we say
teams that
about him when he first got in the league, man? He's thin. You
yeah,
know, he's not even he's, he's not even skinny. He's thin, and these floors are
send
unforgiving.
your emails to Browski.
Listen, OKC fans, like, look, he's thin. The floors are very unforgiving.
What she mean to say is he's frail.
Yeah, he need to put some meat on them bones, man.
He's frail.
Yeah, he took a nasty fall. And
Yeah,
I hate to
yeah.
see that because OKC is a team that I like. I like these
Right.
young guys, and I like what they put together there, and I like their chemistry, and we'll see how they respond without having him because he was like along with SGA he was like their floor general, leader out there. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean they're playing like the Minnesota Timberwolves from last year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And now we're seeing that the Timberwolves, with the Julius Randles and the DiVincendos, um, look at the standings and that tell you all you need to know.
yeah.
We are definitely in the building down in Sports Talk. I am left-handed. That is Yada Bear in the building, as you already know. You know what I mean? Yada Bear's in the house. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you check out Yada Bear. You know what I mean? All the time. And all
Um,
them other cats who be talking that nonsense, man. You know what I mean? Stand on your square. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because we
that's
here.
what we
You know
do.
what I mean? We just here to talk. We ain't here to put on no show or no airs or no throw out no stuff at that. But if you sound
Nah.
crazy, this is what's gonna happen to you. You know what I mean? So that's what that
Oh
is.
man.
That's what that is. Bowski came up with that one, y'all. That's
That,
all.
that
That's
that's
all
that's
Bowski.
funny. But speaking of standings, let's talk about these college football rankings.
Yep. Let's go.
We got the new rankings.
Yeah,
Oregon still up top, 10-0. And I would have to say at the beginning of the season, I was like, well, what's the hype with the Oregon Ducks? Everybody was hyping them up in the preseason, and the first couple games, I'm like, well, they're barely getting past these teams,
hmm
and I didn't really see the hype, but they turn it up to the next gear, and they are like flying out there,
yeah. Um,
they they they're running people off the field, and I'm like, oh, now I see what everybody was seeing in the preseason. But when we look at the rankings, Oregon number one, Ohio State two, 8-1, Texas three, 8-1, Penn State four, 8-1, um, Indiana 10-0, also number five. That's wild to me.
get down to number 12.
Well, you know, they did lose,
Yeah,
but not only did they lose, but they could have lost a couple of other games too. Like they made it so hard.
absolutely, Kim. Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
so seeing them at
We
12,
talk about the we talk about the Miami Hurricanes, y'all.
yeah. So seeing them at 12 is not surprising to me. Um,
Last week there was what, fifth?
There was none. Yeah, there was. Yeah, and you would think that wow, 12 is steep, but as I just said, a lot of those other games they could have lost, and they made a lot of those games more
Closer than
like
they should have
tougher
been.
and closer than they had to be. Like they
Right.
should have been blowing them cats out. Um,
I watched the Georgia Tech game. I was like, yo, like
yeah,
they was Georgia Tech wasn't playing with them, and even when they Georgia Tech was giving them the ball back, Miami wasn't doing nothing with it. Cam Ward,
nothing.
I'm not gonna disrespect him because again, he shot himself in the foot
Yeah,
as far as the Heisman thing is concerned. We lost to a Georgia
yeah.
Tech team.
I would have to agree with that because before that game, I was looking there. I'm like, yeah, I could see him, Heisman candidate. Well, not
Yeah.
after that Georgia Tech game. Um, Shout out to our number 18 ranked Colorado Buffaloes. Now 7-2.
We're
Seven
gonna
and
get them some
two.
love every time. They bowl eligible, y'all. We're gonna give them some
Exactly.
love
Who
every
would have
time.
thought? This is year two in Colorado. Year one in a brand new conference. Okay? Year two in the transfer portal. Okay? 7-2. Ranked number 18. Colorado is officially back? Question mark? Can we say that? Can we say it? Or do we need to see a little bit more?
I mean, at this point in the game, with Colorado, every win becomes closer and closer to like a new. If you get what I'm saying, like a New Year's Day game, you
Yeah.
can win 8. That gets you out of that late December. You win 9. That gets you around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You win
Yeah.
10. You know what I'm saying? So for
I
me,
see where you're going. I see where you're going. And I feel like each win raises another star of recruit they would get. I see they had 3 stars
they're
this
gonna
week.
believe them now.
They get it. They win next week. Maybe a 4 star. Maybe start looking at some 5 stars. Now,
And don't let them win 10 or 11 games. I
oh,
mean, they play Utah coming up this week.
that's gonna be a tough one
That's
right
gonna be
there.
tough.
If they
Yeah.
can beat
And
Utah,
they can win that game. They can
they
absolutely
could.
win that game. You know what I'm saying?
If they beat Utah, then we could probably have to say, hey, Colorado has arrived. You know, because
Um,
Utah's gonna be a tough out. That's a
I,
tough
I I
out.
think that they beat Utah, people are gonna. The next question is gonna be kind of sort of like, then about the Big 12 championship. Like,
Oh,
what I'm saying?
mm.
That's gonna be the next thing. It's always gonna be something when you're dealing with a Dion in that scenario. It's always gonna be something. You're never gonna be able to please them. You know what I'm saying? And when I talk about them, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you. I'm
Yeah,
talking about them. Huh. Let me
yeah.
get some cheers. Let me get some cheers for that. All right. Let me get some cheers for that.
Yeah.
You know, but again, at the end of the day, you know, it's nothing but up for Dion and them right now.
Yeah.
And again, to me, a loss at this point doesn't really hurt him. And when I say that, it'll mean what? The Green Grass Bowl on December 23rd. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So you keep winning games, you keep moving closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then who knows when you might find yourself. You know what I mean? Because now, where's Colorado at now? 18.
18.
They got 6 spots to go to get into 12.
Hey.
So again, at the end of the day, the season is definitely this is the most important part of the season right here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So can
Yeah.
you, if for me, I would consider, each game going moving forward for Colorado a playoff game.
I mean,
You beat
truthfully,
Utah, you're definitely going up in the standings.
I mean, listen, you beat Utah. I
Uh
mean,
huh.
granted, Utah's 4-5, okay, but it's
Right. Right.
still a tough matchup.
Right.
And
That's
then the
right.
week after that, you got Kansas,
Okay.
and then after that, you got Oklahoma State. So they can definitely make a play to get into that top 12. I mean, 12 is not that far from them. It's not.
No.
Um, it's
Ask Miami.
yeah, it's not far fetched. Miami's at 12. I mean, Boise State's at 13, and SMU is at 14. So Miami gotta be careful. Miami got Wake Forest next, and then you got Syracuse.
What happened to Georgia?
Well, Georgia fell all the way off.
I
Um,
mean, did we sleep on Ole Miss? Is Ole Miss that good? I mean, they gave
um,
Georgia the beats.
they gave Georgia the beat down. I think we did sleep on Ole Miss, and I think that we're so used of we were expecting this Georgia Bulldogs defense that just did not show up at
That
all.
all play for the Eagles now.
They all play for the Eagles now. Defensive line,
Right.
linebacker,
Right.
edge rusher, all play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I feel like we was expecting that, and Ole Miss was like, nah,
Ole
we
Miss
came
is
here to
really
play.
good. Right.
Yeah, and I feel like we have. I feel like we have slept on them a little bit. Um, it's wild to me that Alabama is ranked higher than Ole Miss, and Bama just been like. I think it's clearly off of name,
Yeah.
because of Alabama.
Yeah.
I feel like Alabama
How
should be
you gonna
ranked
have a
higher.
two? How you gonna have two losses and still be a top 10 team? Then ranked
Yeah, I
ninth.
feel like they should be. I'll say probably 13, 14. You know,
I would put
yeah.
them. I would put them ahead of Boise, but behind Mississippi.
So 13.
Yeah, I would put them ahead of Boise, but behind Mississippi.
So
Another
13.
team that
Yeah.
is creeping on the come up. Besides, and I gotta give them some love, even though that's not my institution. My institution was Navy.
I knew you were
Army
gonna
is
say
9-0.
Army. Yes.
Navy Army is 9-0, man.
You gotta put some respect
You
on
know,
Army.
so again, I don't know, what it is. It's the portal or the recruitment. They must have did something with the boot camp uniforms or something because the Army is 9-0, b, and you don't talk about them with the Roger Staubach days. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? with it looked like they was playing football when you watched the film, like they was running like aluminum foil or something.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I
crazy.
said right there.
But
Yeah, man.
shout out to Army, man. They're
Yeah.
doing their thing and holding it down. When you get Army undefeated, BYU undefeated,
Yeah.
Indiana undefeated, and Bobby
Mhm.
Knight don't got nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's kind of crazy. But back to the original thought that Browski came into the conversation with. We're talking college football right here down in Sports Talk. We're in the building. Oregon.
Yeah, man.
Now we've seen this story before, Browski. You
You
know,
know, we
Marcus
have,
Mariota,
we have,
Joey Harrington. Remember we had the
yeah,
big, I don't know, the big ass billboard on 34th Street. Like, what the hell is this? That was Oregon when they started doing all those fly uniforms and all that.
mm-hmm.
But um, am I gonna put stock into Oregon?
No,
No, you know that because
no,
again, that number one, what my man said, easy is who wears the crown or something like that.
something like that.
You know what I mean? So it's Oregon's turn. Let's see, how long it's gonna last. Because for me right now, and this is something that you're not gonna hear nowhere else. That's why we're down in sports talk. Right now, where we are in the college football season is playing for those top four spots.
Yeah, yeah.
Those
We playing for
buys,
the first
those
round bye.
buys,
We
right?
playing for that
That's
first round
that.
bye.
That's what that's what we are right now in the season.
Yeah, we
Because
playing. Yeah,
again,
we playing for that bye.
it started out the season started out top 20, blah blah blah. Now it's getting real,
Yeah,
right? It's 12 teams. They're giving you 12 spots. Now the conversation is going to turn from who's going to make those 12 spots now to who's going to get those first round buys. That's what you're playing for now.
yeah,
So again, pay attention to the rest of the season, which is going to be crazy. Those conference championships, which are going to be bananas.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You keep a sharp eye on what's going on down there in Colorado with Dion. I'm hearing, what they talking about with him, the Cowboys and all this. To me, that
Nah, they
makes
talking about the Giants.
the
They were saying,
Giants.
yeah, they
I
were
heard that, but
saying,
I didn't really pay no attention to that.
yeah,
Oh,
they were saying like, what if the Giants drafted Sador and hired Dion? And
the
I said, well,
Giants
that
would
would
have
have
to
been a hell of a
seriously
swing.
tank. The Giants would have to. They played like they was tanking Sunday when they played Carolina.
Oh my God,
Um,
they
but
definitely
yeah,
did.
I go back to what Dion said. He couldn't coach NFL players.
No,
He couldn't. So I stay with that. I don't see Dion going to the NFL. Now, do I see him maybe taking another college job?
yes,
Perhaps.
Power
I
five
don't see
school.
Colorado as being the end stop for Deion Sanders. I don't see Deion Sanders coaching at Colorado for 10 years.
Oh no, mm-mm.
You know what I mean? And I go back to some conversations when I had when we was down in sports talk. I mean, when we was after further review 2.0, they was like, well, he was never gonna leave Jackson State. Deion said, yeah, you mad?
Soon as you
He
got a
had one foot
quarterback that
out the
want to be
door when he
cool.
signed. He had one foot out the door when he signed the deal.
Yeah,
Do we have to jog people's memory of how they broke in his office and all of that stuff and he wasn't there a week?
mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be his, you know what I mean? So, again, he couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah,
So, moving to Colorado just showed upgrade, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And right now, he's doing is building a name for himself, his son's draft position,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Because you got Shador, you got, who's the other Sanders on
Shiloh,
there?
Shiloh.
Shiloh, and then you got Travis Hunter, who he considers a son. So there
Mm-hmm.
you go.
Yeah,
So when you talk about Colorado football, Deion Sanders is building something, and then it's going to be on to the next. Now, whoever comes with the big pocketbook, that's where it might end up. Now, is Florida State still out the picture?
maybe not. Maybe not.
Um, I just said that because that's his alma mater, and that might be in play because he might want to feel like he can bring them back to prominence. Because again, Florida State was that ish,
Yeah,
absolutely. So again, we can we can sit here and talk about what we think or what we might see happening with Dion in Colorado. But right now, we just have to keep them on an upward incline, and they can get into that 12 spot some kind of way. But let me say this about Miami: um, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. Y'all play with
Hmm.
fire too much, yo. Too much. And even Georgia Tech let y'all have the ball back at the end, and Cam was looking for the receiver, got hit and fumbled, and that was it. That was the ball game. So how many times can you tempt fate, yo? So now it's up to y'all because y'all holding on to y'all positioning. It's all about scrambling. Is that a word? Scrambleization?
It is
It's all
tonight.
about that right now. It's all about scrambling around, trying to get that best positioning. The top teams, you look at what you said, your Oregon's, your Ohio States, teams like that now playing for those number one seeds. So that's how we see it over here down in Sports Talk. Let us know how you feel, what you think.
Yeah.
Um, we off for college football?
Yeah, we offer college
All
football,
right.
you know.
Keyshawn Davis is knocking on Javante Davis' door.
Oh, he's definitely
And
not.
he ain't telling no jokes.
Definitely not.
Um, yo, Javante. Yeah. I mean, Frank Martin talked his ish. Ryan Garcia talked his ish. Riley Romero definitely talked his ish. You got all them dudes out here. But this dude, you better check and see if it ain't no family feud going on. The
Yeah.
Davises against the Davises.
I
You
was
know what I
thinking that too.
mean?
I said, these Davis's boys
These Davis, yeah, these
about to get it
Davises got
romping.
some things going on. Um, I agree with a lot of people saying the star was born the other night. You know what I mean? He came out with the high school band. That's and what I envisioned was, if and when him and Javante do fight, him being walked out by the high school band. That would be so crazy. But I watched this dude, and this dude that he was supposed to be fighting Matos or Batos or whatever.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be kind of nice. He dismantled that dude.
They were talking about him, oh, this is gonna be a big test for
But yeah,
Keyshawn. He's gonna be
right,
really
right, right.
careful, blah blah blah. But
Man,
he got him out
he got him out of
easily,
there. He got him
easily,
out of there with the quickness and the speed,
easily,
and with finesse and with power, and
and
he
with
meant
power.
business.
Yep. So
And so I don't know. We don't talk about boxing because boxing's not interesting to talk about. Everybody wants to be have Twitter fingers and be these social media warriors and social media champions and all that. But I like Keyshawn Davis. Now they made the fight. Keyshawn Davis and Javante Davis. Um, to me, right now, how I see it, what do we always talk about when Javante Davis fights? The slow start.
start
That's what we
slow.
always talk about. You can't afford no slow start against this dude.
Nah, you can't.
You can't.
You can't.
And it's the Baltimore Virginia thing. Oh, it's all set up.
Yeah, get it.
It's
Throw it
all
down in the
set up, yo.
DMV. Throw it down in the DMV, man.
You know what I mean? Speaking of, I see your guy AI. It's popped up on the screen.
Oh yeah, AI in the building.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I think Keyshawn Davis, he talked as much as the other dudes. But I think that if you put Javante Davis in front of Keyshawn Davis, I think you would get a all out action fight. And at this point in the game, Javante ain't gonna have no time to try to figure this dude out because this dude is coming with the like what's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's definitely. I think he's definitely going to test Javante Davis gangster.
Oh
But
yeah, he definitely will.
that's
Definitely
what we
will.
are. And this is the part of the show where we give it up. You know what I mean? And do what we do. That's a little part of the show called Get Down on It. So, Browski, what you getting down on this week?
I'm getting down on this Tyson and Jake Paul fight coming up Friday. Curious. Saw a little workout video of Tyson earlier this week. he looked jacked. He looks crazy big. I kind of want him to knock this kid out because I just felt like it's just like so disrespectful to even want to face this guy in the ring. In whatever type of boxing match this is, this expedition. I don't know. Like I feel like they don't have like these big behind gloves on. You know, I just feel like the
Like
gloves are
Popeye
gonna
and
look like
Bluto is.
super big. They're gonna look like those big novelty boxing gloves. That's how I feel like these gloves are gonna look like. But I feel like it doesn't
Big
matter.
clown gloves.
Yeah. But to me, at the end of the day, I think it don't matter what type of gloves that Tyson got on. I feel like he still can knock him out.
Right.
You know, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping to see him. I'm hoping to see Tyson get busy, um, giving a show, and you know, knocking his ball out. Truthfully, I wanna. I want to see him on the mat. I want to see him on the mat. I want to see Jake Paul on the mat. So that's what I'm getting down on. So hopefully it's a good fight. If I turn it on and it look like some novelty, Jake Paul running around the ring, and it's just some nonsense, I'm gonna turn it right off. I'm just gonna just turn it
I hear you.
right off. But that's what I'm
Listen,
getting down on.
listen.
Let's go,
I'm
Tyson.
gonna get down on that for a hot second too. I think as we get closer to it, the curiosity factor
Mhm.
is becoming that much more. Um, when they first announced this fight, I know I said if Mike Tyson don't get this dude out of here within in the first second round, his whole career is a fraud. Mike Tyson in those workout videos, and he was just running through these cats and stuff like that. If you don't come out like that from the opening bell, then this whole lead up to this thing was suspect. I don't care about you stretching it out I don't care nothing about that. If this is a Tyson fight, make it a Tyson fight, and you know how
Give me
Tyson fights
rounds.
go. You get up to
Give me
go get you
rounds.
some popcorn. Boom, the fight is over. Make it one of
Exactly.
those. You want to impress me? Make it one of those. I'm tired of hearing about Jake Paul who never did nothing in his life except run his mouth.
Exactly. I'm tired of this guy.
Where's the black Jake Paul at? And I don't mean Jake from State Farm,
Yeah, I'm
right?
tired. I'm tired of this guy.
And again, I'm and he's knocking out these MMA fighters and these UFC fighters, and they big the fights up, and they like that. No, now
Mhm.
Mike Tyson, if you really about that life and you really real, then show us. You the baddest
Yeah.
man on the planet. People still respect you 20 years after your last big fight.
Yep.
Show us. Get this dude out of here.
Get him out of here.
People, people worried about he's such and such years old. Nobody care about that. If Jake Paul ran up on Mike Tyson on a Brooklyn block, Jake Paul's not surviving.
No. No.
Period.
He piecing him out real quick.
If Jake Paul ran up on Shannon Briggs, if Jake Paul ran up on Riddick Bowe,
Exactly.
if Jake Paul ran up on Zab Judah,
Yep.
Danny Jacobs,
Yeah. So it don't matter how old he is.
like you know what I'm saying? So it don't matter. Fighting is fighting. You putting on a show.
Facts.
So again, at the end of the day, I'll get down on that. And one more thing I want to get down on before we get up out of here. I know Browski gonna be like, oh boy. Listen, um, a lot of people, still commenting on the Buckshot situation, right? Buckshot, Shorty from Boot Camp Click, Black Moon, Duck Down, was brutally attacked a couple weeks ago. There's been all types of speculation about what could have happened, what should have happened, what might have happened. If you don't know what happened, then you shouldn't really speak to it. This is one of those situations where it's like, unless you know, you kind of like just sit back and just be a interested bystander, an observer, because it gets serious and it's starting to percolate. Okay, My man Rock Ness Monster, that's my guy, Rock Ness Monster. On his podcast, he spoke to some things in regards to Adolf Aguiar. And I don't know if people are familiar with Adolf Aguiar, but he's an artist in his own right. Had some tunes bubbling back in the day or whatever. Spoke on the Buckshot situation, and to me, when you listen to that, it was just kind of like, well, oh, I'm from the hood, I'm from that neighborhood, I have a right to speak to that because that's where my wife and my kids are. All right, but if you don't know the situation, and the big part about what I'm getting down on is these other podcasters just jumping out the window, right? And when you find out what the real deal is, you just was doing this to get your clickbait up, and that's not cool, right? Because again, like we talked about behind the scenes, something happens to you, you'll be crying and boohooing and talk about you respect your family's privacy, but you'll make sure to put that GoFundMe address up there though. Let Buckshot do his thing. Let the boot camp click. Let Duck Down. Let them, have their moment. You know what I'm saying? Um, wish Buck a speedy recovery. You know what I mean? And all y'all out there, you know what I mean? Hold your heads. Everything's gonna take care of itself. All right. So we're gonna leave it at that. All right. This is left handed right here. That's Shot Bear over there. You know what I mean? I'm down in Sports Talk. Y'all make sure y'all check it out with us Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night. um, 8 o'clock till about 9:30. You know what I mean? And we'll be back at y'all next week, man. Week 11. We'll talk about some stuff. And I want to hear about some wrestling stuff. We haven't heard about wrestling from our wrestling correspondent, YB, and the place to be. So we'll talk about some wrestling next week and all that good
Yes.
stuff. So, but now, left-handed, Yada Bear. Any shout outs before we get up out of here, Browski?
Definitely, shout out to the Phillies for saying Alec Bomb is
What you call him, Alec Bum?
a portrayed.
What you call him, Alec Bum?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
damn.
Shout out to the Phillies for trying to make a move because can't go back next season with the same roster. So shout out to them.
I hear you. And on that note, be out. Windwalker, wherever you are, man, be peace, man. All
That's
right.
right.
Our partners coming, y'all. Y'all be peace. All right.
Peace.
Peace. Go home. All right.